we'll talk to you about the Bloom's taxonomy, how exactly AICT in their own way, they have tried to implement in their processes there. How exactly we expect NBA to see whether our curricula, our processes, our examination, evaluation system are as per the Bloom's taxonomy or not. This is what we're going to talk about. So this is what you might have gone through. Okay, every program which we do, that has got a program outcomes. And in case some program is there, there's some program outcome which are there. Maybe this has been defined at a national level only, where AICT and NBA, they have come out with the program outcome. We say A2K for all engineering diploma. All the program is there for even for MBA. All the program is there. Now, let's say you talk about any program outcome. What sort of competencies you would like to attain for that? Okay, obviously, the moment I say program outcome, there are some competencies which we have to have. We say it's a skill, a knowledge, skill, and attitude which are there, cases there. So what sort of competencies we are to, then what sort of performance indicators are there through which I can find out whether they have been attained or not. Then how exactly I can access it. So let's say this is a broader perspective. Once we have got our academic system, which is outcome based. Let's say we have got a program outcome 1. Maybe those of you who have seen the NBA site, it's mentioned over there. Okay, these are some of the program outcome which are there. And let's say as I said, it's from A to K. There are 12 program outcome which are there. One of them may be program outcome 1. Then let's say these are the 3 competencies which are to be attained through that only to fulfill that particular outcome. And these are the indicators which are there through which we'll indicate. How exactly we assess it? That is through some questions, some continuous evaluation, some project work, some lab work, some assignment, so all these are nothing but some mechanism through I find out whether I'm able to access it or not. Now, if you look at this, the moment I say program outcome, I talk about some of the courses which one has to do. That's how you will attain that particular competencies. And for each of the course, there are course outcome which are there. Now, and then those are the course outcome which we have to achieve from that. Now, how do you design your curricula? We say, these days we say it has to be what sort of a objective we have got for teaching this course and what will the outcome of that. Now, usually you might be facing this problem. Why should I learn this? Student, because in the earlier time, whatever you teach to the student, they will accept. But these days they are questioning. They say, why, let's say somebody from a computer science, they say, why should I learn chemistry? Maybe then you have to think about what sort of competencies has to be incorporated in that. So this is what we say is a course objective and the course outcome which are there. Then how do you measure them is some of the techniques which are there. Now, if you look at the moment I define some course curriculum, there is element of Bloom's taxonomy which comes over there. The moment I define certain objectives, outcome which are there, then there are some things which relate to your Bloom's taxonomy comes. The moment I evaluate them, again there is some Bloom's taxonomy component which comes over there in that particular whole game. So this is the overall perspective where exactly we come out with the Bloom's taxonomy there. Maybe your competencies, maybe your performance indicators, maybe your assessment. All these are under the umbrella of the Bloom's taxonomy there. Now, let's say this is the outcome which is there. Okay, program outcome, maybe attribute 3, PO3, this is design development of solution, design solution for complex engineering problem, and design system component or processes that meet the specific needs. Maybe some societal need, some cultural need. So this is, let's say, this is the program outcome which is there. Let's say you're talking about BTech in computer science. What we expect is one of the outcome is they should be able to solve the complex engineering problem. What sort of engineering problem you envisage there? maybe some of the data structure problem, some of the software engineering problem, some of the IoT problem, some are like this. There's so many problems which are there. So this is what we say. Okay, that means in case I have to have this particular a program outcome, I must have got a course of a data structure. That is a competencies. I must have got a course of a software engineering. I must have got course of a databases. I must have got a course on the some of the advanced techniques which are there. Let's say these are some of the courses which we talk about. Now for each of the course, we say okay, this is the outcome which will be there in case I teach a course. Now like the moment I say somebody learn this uh, course which is on data structures, what we expect from him is he will be able to design some of the good programs over there for the complex problems. Now, how do we measure this? That means this is a competency which are developed in him. Okay, demonstrate ability to define complex, open-ended problem in engineering terms. So this is what I was telling you. Okay, the way I say, okay, in case I would like somebody to become perfect in data structures, he should be able to demonstrate that ability to solve the complex problems. Then design solutions. Now, can I think of only one solution for a problem? I can't. I had to think about the alternative problem solutions there. Then we have to select optimize. Okay, this is what we learn in case of those who are from computer science. This is how we learn. We design an algorithm. We design 10 algorithms to solve one problem. Then we try to see what is the optimal. How do you see the optimal? How much memory it takes, how much space it takes, how much is the time execution it takes for defining this sort of a development there. Then demonstrate an ability to advance an engineering design in the defined and state there. So these are the competency which has to develop in him. Now, then this is where we say what is the Bloom's taxonomy. If I look at the earlier ones, we talk about curriculum, we talk about evaluation, we talk about outcome which will be there corresponding to a course. Now, this is what we talk in Bloom's taxonomy there. Okay, what we say Bloom's taxonomy that provides you framework. What the framework it provides you? How exactly I design a curriculum? What sort of teaching methodologies are there? Now, can somebody tell me what sort of a teaching methodology they employ for a course? Somebody can unmute himself and tell me. Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What sort of teaching methodology you employ for
The
teaching a
teaching
particular
methodology is
course?
like group discussions, demonstration, role
Yes,
playing. I am following that methodologies whenever I teach in my class.
right. Then how about lecturing? Is it not a methodology?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a basic methodology which is there. Along with that, we go for some discussions, we go for some labs, we go for some of the this sort of things there. Then let's say I employed this teaching methodology. I made a curriculum. I employed a teaching methodology. Now I had to evaluate them also.
Yes, so that's most important. As per the COPO, they have to attain that. So we
Right.
have to keep that in mind also, whether they are attaining the course outcomes or is it mapping with the program outcomes, how they
Yes.
learn.
Yes, that's what we do. Okay, the moment I say examination, examination is not the only setting up the question papers there. Examination is how exactly I will be evaluating that particular student in this whole game there. Now let's say I take up a labs, I evaluate the labs. I go for a question answering sessions there. I go for some quiz there. I go, these are different types of the examination which we perform upon the student there, that is based on various cognitive levels which we have got. Maybe we usually say there are three types of domains: cognitive, affirmative, and behavioral. So that's how you would define the performance of a student there. And basically in this whole thing, we deal with the cognitive domain. That has been defined. That is our primary focus. Our major focus is in the cognitive domain, and what we didn't do in that is we design some curricula. Then what sort of a learning objectives? What is the objective of learning this? And what will the outcome of this? Then we define the assessment. Then corresponding to this, what sort of activities are associated with this? Maybe can somebody talk about what sort of activities are there once you go for your learning objective or assessment with respect to a course you're teaching? Yes, quickly, somebody should
Yes,
answer.
sir. Like whenever we take the MSc from the students, then we have to map the CO with the questions, whatever the question come in at the exams, with the learning outcomes also. Whenever we do the perform the experiment in the lab, for each experiment there is a learning outcome. Students have to write the learning outcome at the end of the experiment.
Right. So these are some of the activities which you perform. The moment somebody's student perform an experiment, there is one activity which is there. The moment you go to the class, deliver a talk, that's the activity. The moment you give a quiz, that's the activity. The moment you give them some a presentation, that's the activity which they are performing. You give them some minor project there, that's one activity. So all these activities, as she was saying, all these activities are leading to some outcomes there. What sort of objectives are there which we have fit up while designing this curricula? And these are some of the activities through which we try to attain some of the objective which we have kept for this particular course there. So what is the history? Because you will say this all this thing we are doing earlier also. Then what's so great about the Bloom's taxonomy? Maybe can you imagine this particular taxonomy? They came in the year 1956 by one Benjamin Bloom, and it continued for that many years. In 2001, there's some modification which were done in this Bloom's taxonomy based on the technology, based on the thing which has been there. Now, this is what the Bloom's taxonomy is there. Okay, we take it as 6 level: knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluate. That was the earlier one. Then knowledge was vast, how much we can remember and how much we understand, how we can apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Then this was what was there as a revised Bloom's taxonomy which came up there. So why you say knowledge and remember? Because in that time there was not a vast knowledge which used to be there. Maybe you used to have a one textbook, everyone follow the textbook, so you will get the knowledge, you will remember everything. But now, since there is a exponential growth of the knowledge which is there, so how much I can remember, because all we have got number of tools, number of technologies which are available. Is it everything I have to remember? That means we have to decide how much we have to remember there, how much we have to understand, and how exactly we apply. Maybe if you look at your educational system earlier, we were in case I look for a small child who is in a first standard, there used to be periods where he will be doing tables. What he will do in the tables, they will make him to remember all the things. Now there is a lot of debate which goes on. Why should I remember it? In case technology is there, why don't you tell him the technology? This is how you can multiply. In case I had to tell somebody 19 into 8 is this, and he remembers. Of course, I'm not saying we should not remember. At our age, we used to remember that only. But he says, why should I remember? So that means he should understand it, then apply it. technology is available, he should be able to apply. The same example we give it for the in case you look for your courses, those of you from the maths department, in case you're teaching integration to them and you wanted to evaluate student for the integration, you say, okay, you integrated this. Then the student keeps on thinking, what was the formula for this? Now, maybe your applied science or maths teacher can just debate on this or tell me this. Are we checking whether he remember the formula, or we are checking whether he is able to integrate the problem which I given to him? Yes, somebody from maths department. Is there somebody from maths?
Sir, actually, we have to ask the formula as well as the application part, because if as per the examination system in India, you know that numericals are used to be done in the in the examination, and if the student don't know the formula, then he can't even continue.
Okay. Let's say that means what we are testing him for is remembering.
Sorry, we are testing him for the remembering, but if even the lower domains are not done, then how can they go for the next level?
Let's say you forget about remembering. I give him all the 24, because if you look at your integration, there may be 20 odd formulas which are there, which he keeps on remembering.
Sir, actually, when I have some students from the foreign countries, and what I look at when they are doing some numericals on the basis of integration, at the time of examination, integration formula sheet is given to them, and
Yes.
I think this practice is very good. But we are in India, we are not following that.
No,
This should be this
that's what
should
I
be.
wanted to drive you at.
Sir,
What are you
I
testing?
I personally want to, sir, but the pattern we can't change.
No, change will always begin from some end only.
So
Because
formula you can give it. Sorry to interrupt. Formula you can
yes,
provide, but if some question based on concept or some theorem based question, so we cannot provide that theorem also. Na? He has to understand that concept and apply that.
Ma'am, that becomes in the third domain, na ma'am. That is
yes,
applicability,
apply.
Mm-hmm.
not
Hmm.
remembering.
Remembering is important in mathematics,
No, no, that's where
especially in India.
because I tell you,
Yes,
we
that
are to prepare student for the international context, not for
Mm-hmm.
the regional context only. So, if what exactly we are trying to find out from him, let's say, in case I give him a problem of integration, along with this, I give him all the 20 formulas, because there are 20 odd formulas which are there. Now, then, if I give him all the formulas, he that means I'm not testing him for remembering, but I'm testing him, can he apply those formulas? That means, okay, the moment I have given him a problem of integration, I give him other formulas, he can just try to see whether he can integrate or not. Because if you look at periodic tables were earlier not given to the student, they have to remember the periodic table also. But now we have realized that we are not to give the periodic table, because this is a table which is just values which are there. So this is where we have to take our academic system to the upper levels here. Because if you look at now, if you look at remember, there's a very low level learning which our students are having. If they remember 100 formulas, that's not what we want. There's a very low level learning which is there with the student. And this is where we say is the one remembering the lowest level learning, understanding is still next level of a learning, apply is next level of a learning, then you analyze it, then you evaluate, then you create some new knowledge. So what our, because what we say is our new education policy also says, okay, can I think about making students a critical thinkers? I can't make him in case I keep him at a very low level of a remembering and understanding. But the moment I give him a problem of analysis, evaluate, and create, then only I can think about making them the students who can critically examine some of the things there. So this is what we say. This is revised Bloom's taxonomy, which is there. Now, remember is recognize and recalling facts. Okay, he saw the formula. The moment I have got a question, state Ohm's law, he would have remembered it and reproduces it. There may be some poor student who doesn't remember and he fails. You just give a problem, state 3 laws of motion. So somebody from mechanical engineering, the moment I ask the student, state 3 laws of motion, what are we expecting from him? Somebody from mechanical engineering.
Hello, sir.
Hello, can you introduce yourself?
Sir, I'm Piyush Mahendru from Manav Rashna University. I'm working as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering.
That's great. I hope you are giving this sort of question, state 3 laws of motion, right? So what we expect the students to do in this case there?
So basically, to understand and the apply the
No,
second and third.
the moment I say state 3 laws of motion, I am checking for his understanding, or I'm checking for his applying?
I think the remember part is what we are looking for.
Remember part is there. I think this is where our question papers are suffering. Okay, what we try to do is, because state Ohm's law, electrical people, they are giving this sort of questions. So what now, in case somebody is good in memorizing the thing, he can attempt it. But in case he is poor in remembering, he can't do it.
Hello.
Because these are some of the facts. Yes.
Vinay Kumar Singh, sir.
You are from which institute?
From GL Bajaj, sir.
Okay.
I'm from mechanical department.
Okay.
According to what you are asking, that level should be from remember only.
Yeah, that is a remembering level only.
Yes, yes.
And we are not testing anything in that.
Yes, exactly.
It's only whether he can reproduce whatever he's seen in the book. But in case for this particular thing, I define a problem, I can find out which law of motion can we apply to solve this problem. Maybe that will give him a better idea. He's able to apply it. So this is what we say. Then the moment he's able to apply laws of motion, that means he understands that and he can apply. So this is what we say.
Yes, yes.
Recognizing and recalling facts is remembering, understanding what the fact means. Now, the moment I say, give a question, state 3 laws of motion, I never try to find out whether he's understood anything out of this or not. Or he's just mugged it up. And apply the facts, rules, concept, and ideas. Now, in this particular thing, what I'm trying to check is whether he can apply it. I'm not keen whether he remember the facts, remember the rules. But this is where we have to go for. Can I think about what can be given to the student in the examination and what are the things we are expecting him to apply over there? So maybe then breaking down information into component part. Let's say integration is there. The moment there are 3 or 4 pluses there, I break that into 3 parts. Maybe my analysis says, in case I break it, I can apply the formula. And say then you, based on that, you judge the information or idea. Then you combine parts to make a new whole. Now, this is what we say is our model, which we say is the Bloom's taxonomy, which is there. So what we try to do is we include thinking knowledge and application of the knowledge. So our whole emphasis is upon the application of the knowledge which we acquire. Because having the knowledge doesn't help. Because our internet is full of knowledge only. If I just ask anything to the internet, it will tell me. That means I need not remember it. Emphasis is how exactly I can apply this particular knowledge for various things there. So that's what we say is a popular framework in engineering aviation, where assessment is characterized is complexity and the high order ability which are there. So the moment I say somebody is able to apply, I can assume he understands, he remembers it. The moment I say analyze, he can apply, he can understand, he can remember. So this is what the moment I look for something from the higher level, lower levels have learned of its own there. So these are some of the levels which are there. Okay, remembered, whatever is recall which are there. So these are some of the questions which are the question verbs which are there. Maybe you list, define, tell, describe, recite, are nothing but some of the verbs which we use. So this is what you have to understand. The moment there is a question, define this. That means what we are testing him for remembering only. Understanding is understanding information, grasp meaning, translate, interpret facts, you group them. So all these are nothing but some of the understanding questions which are there. We have got to describe, explain, paraphrase, restate. These are some of the things which we say are part of our understand thing. Then apply. Apply is in case I am able to use the information there. Maybe you calculate, you predict, you apply, you solve. All these are nothing but some verb which we use for this particular apply there. The analysis, you break the problem into some different components there and then try to see what sort of relationship, interaction are there in this sort of a question there. We say the verbs which we use is classify, outline, break down, categorize are nothing but some of the verbs which we use there. Then evaluate and compare and discriminate between ideas. Let's say there are 3-4 ideas which are given. You evaluate the ideas. So this is what we do once we give project to the students. We try to evaluate their solutions. In case they are giving me good solution, that's fine. Otherwise, I have to think about how exactly the solution look like. Then create. Create is use old ideas to create new ones. This is what we do in research. There will be some idea there, old idea there, which is there in the paper. I modify some of the things there. Come out with the results which are better than the earlier ones. That means I created some new knowledge there. Or you combine some of the parts. I apply one technique, I apply second technique in a sequence. But let me apply both the techniques together. So this is what question for that is design, formulate, build, invent, create. That is what we do in case of a creation there. So this is what we say. These are the action verb for assessment. So they are the ones which indicates of the complexity of the question, which helps to describe and classify and frame the examination questions. Maybe the moment I had to frame a question, let's say there is a question bank there. I try to find out what are the questions which are falling in the verbs which are there in this particular case there. So that's what we say. Choice of action verb is very important once we have to set this particular question there. Maybe this is again on the same similar slide, which defines what sort of words we use for the assessment purposes. Maybe knowledge, understanding, apply, analyze, evaluate, create. So these are some of the verbs which are there. Maybe this depends upon the subject which you're teaching. And accordingly, we have all these verbs through which we try to build up this sort of a questions there. Now, can I test all of them in the examination? Maybe can I test knowledge, understanding, apply, analyze, evaluate, create in the same examination? No. So this is where this is assessment planning is there. You have to plan up. So this is what we say. We have to think about how exactly we have to plan up for this particular assessment there. This is what we say, the planning. Now, if you look at first 3 levels, remembering, understanding, applying, and to some extent analysis based on the subject which you're teaching. So they are to evaluate it in the continuous internal evaluation and semester end examination. Whatever is your end term examination, what is a continuous internal evaluation. Because this is what we say, they are the fixed hour examination. In 3 hours, I can test somebody for remembering, understanding, apply, to some extent analyzing there. Depends upon the subject you're teaching, course you're teaching, and the ability to analyze, evaluate, and create. They can't be tested in a fixed hour examination. They are the flexible things. And how do we do it? We just evaluate them based on the course project, mini project, internship experience, and the final year projects. So what sort of maybe project we also say assignments. That means this assignment has to take care of the analysis, evaluate, and the create part. Maybe in case I give them the assignments, what are the various types of operating system which are there? Does it carry any meaning? Because neither we are asking him analysis, nor evaluate, nor create. But yes, then he will copy all these things from the internet, give it to you. And then you will say, oh, no, these students are copying the project. They are not showing interest in the project. They are not able to show the interest because there is nothing they are analyzing, nothing they are evaluating, and nothing they are creating anew. That's why there is a boriyat in the projects. So that's what we have to see. Okay, this is what important thing is there. How exactly we plan the assessment for any of the students there. How exactly planning is there. So this is what we see. This is the levels of the learning. Now remembering, understanding, and apply to some analysis is a fix of our examination which are there through which we evaluate, and analysis, evaluate, create. So these are through project or a caption project or a mini project which are there through which we assess it. Now this is the level. The moment I take him to the higher levels, I'm testing him for the higher level there. So this is how you have to plan up your assessment. This is what Bloom says. Starting from the curriculum, to teach, to evaluate, we have got levels of all the Bloom's level which are being used over there. So this is an important thing where we say this is assessment planning which is there. So what we have to do is we have to study the present pattern of assessment in each of the course in the program to gain insight about alignment of assessment question with course learning outcome. That means, as one of the lady participant was telling, we have to see whether this particular assessment question matches with the learning course outcome or not. You imagine you're teaching a design of a bridge course and you say, define bridge, define ladder. That's not what we expect. Outcome which we expect from a course which is in terms of the bridge design. Because I'm not testing you for designing. So this is what we have to see. How exactly my questions can be aligned to the learning outcome which are there. So she was saying you have to map this with the learning outcome. This is how we do. And then another thing, we try to see whether our learning outcome are tested. Let's say you make a question paper which tests students for only first two outcomes. That means for the third and fourth or fifth outcome, we didn't test him. Then what sort of weightages are there for assessment to each of the Bloom's level? Now let's say I set up 80% of the question to the remembering only. That means I'm testing him for a very low level. You're testing him. And your assessment methods, what sort of assessment method you're using? As somebody was giving me the list of assessment methods which are there. Maybe again, not somebody can talk about the assessment method they use for their courses. Just name a course. Okay, this is the assessment method they have used. Or I can go to the again chat window. You tell me, write the name of the course, what sort of assessment methods you have used for that. That will give me idea how exactly assessment methods.
Sir, myself, Dr. Vikas from Chandigarh University. And,
maybe I'll suggest in case you can go to your chat window and type out the things, because then other will also get the opportunity.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Vikas says one of the best talk I have ever involved. Please provide PPT handouts. Sure, we'll provide you the handout for this. Quickly do write the name of the course and what sort of a methodology you use. Amrit Jo says continuous evaluation case study. Yeah, that's good. Okay, because we have to think about the moment I say go for the case studies or presentations, we are going the higher level of the learning there. You're very right in saying this is a case study. I can't ask him a case study in the examination, but yes, I can give him the case study and let him do it in 2-3 days. Yes, Vikas says term paper. Yes, that's good. Case study presentation, statistical inferences. That's very important these days. How you infer the data, because these days we talk a lot about the industry 4.0, and there we talk a lot about the this particular aspect. Is Gurpreet Kaur says genetic engineering practicals, graphical abstract. That's very interesting. Can I think of a graphical abstract? That's again a big data analytics where a lot of a data is there. You try to draw some graphical out of this and try to infer out of this. Maybe it's Shiv Kumar says software engineering, MCQ. Maybe that's another interesting way of evaluating the students. You try to find out, give them the quiz based on the MCQ there. Maybe others. Saira Banu says project presentation. That's good. Then Puruv Goel says mini projects. Yes, that's an important thing where in case I give the project and define the milestones. Okay, these are the milestones which are there for corresponding to this particular project there. That can help. Then another Puruv Goel says surprise test. That is a very important thing which is there. Industry is full of surprises only. Are we preparing our students for the surprises? Surprise test is one of the way we can do it. No, Vinay says ask them to teach any topic of interest. I think I would like to take it with a pinch of salt. Not that you divide whole syllabi into different components, 40 components each every student to teach. That's not what we expected for teach any topic. Now, based on the topic, in case there is some additional thing he can give you that. That means with this particular whole analysis, what we have analyzed is so these are some of the assessment method which you talked about, and they leads you to some sort of a learning outcome. How exactly you will take care of the learning outcome there. And based on this study, improvement priorities for each of the factors need to be arrived at. So if you look at those of you institute who have gone for the NBA accreditation, first thing they ask is continuous improvement which is happening. How do we test the continuous improvement? Let's say in the first year, we usually see the result of the 3 years. First year, my result was 70%. Next year, it became 75%, then became 80%. That's an improvement. Or I built up a lab, improved upon the experiments there. That's another improvement which is there. So they are all leading to your assessment and question and the learning outcomes over there through which we improve upon that. So this is what we see the assessment planning. It's a taxonomy framework, helps the faculty to set examination paper. We have to see whether my question paper is well balanced and testing the different cognitive skills. These are two important aspects which are there. Is my paper well balanced? The moment I say my 80% of the questions are of remembering only, this paper is not balanced. In case there are 4 outcomes, it ask the question for only two outcomes, my paper is not balanced. I must define which outcome is important. I test more over there and less over there in the other categories there. So these are some of the things which we say my paper is well balanced or not there. Now we have to put up an upper limit. Okay, what sort of low order skills we would like to have this? Let's see, you can think about 20% of the question will be on remembering only. Fair enough. But not that all the whole question paper is of remembering only. So that's what we say. You have to define the weightage for different cognitive levels, and they can vary from course to course. That's where your, as a faculty, this comes under preview. Okay, whatever course we are teaching, my weightage for different cognitive level may be different. If I am teaching a history course, I can't think of creating a new knowledge. Whereas in case I'm teaching a software engineering, I can think about creating something different there. So these are some of the questions from the Bloom's taxonomy level which are there. Maybe they are more focused towards computer science. Let's say, remembering what the difference between declaration and definition of variable and a function. What is the use of a local variable? What is a pointer? All these are nothing but remembering question only. And then understand what is the difference between these two brackets. These angular brackets and the quotes. These are two brackets which we usually use in C language. I may be using it since long, but in case somebody asks me what is the difference between them, that means in which situation this has to be applied, in which situation this is to be applied, is what we have to understand there. And what is the meaning of a base address of the array? This is what we have to understand this. So all these are some of the questions which says remember and which say understand, and this is a skill demonstrated in that. I think you might have seen these are some skill demonstrated there. That means the moment I say understand, whether information is there, he's understanding that information or not, or grasp the meaning there or not, translate knowledge into new context. All these are nothing but some of the skills which have been demonstrated there. Then apply. You just say, write an algorithm to implement a stack using queue. That means in case he knows stack, in case he knows queue, then how stack can be implemented using queue can be taught, can be applied there. So this is the skills which are demonstrated in that. Then we go to analysis. Just like return statement can only be used to return a single value. Can there be multiple value we return from a function? That means you have to think of analysis. Can I return multiple value? How can I do it? Maybe you're writing a program for an unknown problem. Can be another thing which we have do in the analysis part. That means what we do is break down a complex problem into parts, identify the relationship between them. Then evaluate. You compare and try to discriminate within ideas. And use ideas to create a new ones there. Now, that's what we say, evaluate and create a difficult to access in a time-limited examination. It's very difficult to test them in the examination system. We have to think about testing them in some of the projects, mini projects, capstone projects. That's why these projects, internship are important these days. Let's say, example is design a system to assist the driver by using camera to detect lane marker and pedestrian while the vehicle is in motion. I can't think of this sort of question in the examination, but yes, I can give them this sort of project to the students. Okay, what we want is they have to detect the lane markers. Okay, while vehicle is in motion, he should be able to see all the marker which are there in this particular situation there. maybe course outcome and other things you would be knowing earlier also. Now I'll show you some of the example question paper which are there in this particular area only. So this is a question paper which is there from our examination system only. Now, this is how we make our question paper. Along with each question, we just say marks, CO level, course outcome, which is there, to which outcome it meets, and the Bloom's level. So that means for each of the question, we try to define this parametrics. Question number, question, what is the marks, what is the CO, what is the BL for this Bloom's level for this particular question there. So this is our end term examination which we have got. Okay, what we do is we make it as a matrix only, where question number is there, question, this is the question which is there, and then this is the marks, then there's a CO level, CO course outcome which is there corresponding to this. That means corresponding to this particular syllabi, there is a course of outcome which is there, and there is a Bloom's level which is there. So that means this is the fourth level. What is the fourth level? Analysis.
Analyze.
Yeah. Then second question, again, for each of the question, maybe A, B, C, we try to find out what's the marks, what is the CO, what is the Bloom's level there. So corresponding each of the question, we have defined this.
But sir, we can start from the remembering the question starting. I think in my view, sir, I think analysis or the analysis part and creative part should be in last. I think so, sir.
No, that is a psychological aspect of the question paper. What you want is the moment you would like to give a question paper to the students, first question he sees, it should be easier one. You're very right. You can think of a psychological aspect of the question paper also. Think of a very simple question initially so that it gives him some confidence. That's what we expect, right? So this is how we define. I'm more concerned about the matrix which is there. Question number, question, marks, course outcome, and the Bloom's level which is there. So corresponding each of the question, we define this. Then this is what we say the course outcome wise marks distribution. We say it's a balanced question which has to be there. So that means corresponding to this particular course outcome, marks are 18 and CO2 is 16, CO3 is 25 and CO4 is 16. So this is what we say, whether I have to see whether my question paper is balanced or not. I try to see whether, okay, first thing I would like to see whether all my question paper is complete. The moment I wanted to see my question paper is complete, I see all the levels, CO1, 2, 3, 4, whether this many number of marks has been defined for this or not. Then we try to see what is the learning level which is there. Maybe this was a mathematics question. So I didn't see any remembering question there. But yes, there is certain evaluation question which has been put up in this particular paper there. So
But
we
sir,
have
there,
got,
sir, there is any criteria for to put the applying analysis and evaluating in
no,
a in a
this
specific.
standard criteria is my question paper should be from remembering, understanding, applying, and to some extent analyzing there. That is what we see the fixed question paper.
Okay.
But in case I have to give them the projects, is from analyzing, evaluate, and create. Maybe some aspect of application there. So this is how we define. This is the broader level which we define, but it varies from question paper to question paper there. As I gave the example, in case of a history question paper, maybe I like to put more questions which are of the remembering type. As compared to some discrete structure question paper where I have to think about the numerical problem, analysis problem there. So this is what we say the Bloom's level wise marks distribution. Okay, this is how my question paper has been distributed there. So these are the what we say Bloom's level through which I can set up this question paper. Now somebody might be talking to you about how exactly Bloom's level are to be used for the curriculum design also. Because as I said, the moment I had to think about the COs there, I had to think about what sort of verbs are to be used there. So all this is nothing but some aspect of the uses of the Bloom's level in the setting the question paper, setting up the curriculum, setting up of the project work there. Now, Priya is asking, sir, it is mandatory to give equal weightage to all COs while we are assessing? No, because there may be one CO which may be having more relevance to the course which is there as compared to the other CO. As I showed you there, corresponding to each of the CO level, we have to define what sort of weightages are there. This where your teaching skill comes into the picture. Your innovation, your teaching skill comes into the picture, how exactly we have to do it. Some more questions? Dr. Ganga Sharma, you wanted to ask something?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
you can unmute. Yes.
Yes. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, my question is related to the
Can you just tell
previous.
me you're from which institute?
Sir, I am currently working with the GL Bajaj Institute of Technology and Management, Greater Noida.
Okay.
And during 2009 and 10, I was in PEC.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So,
That's
sir, my question is related to the previous one only. So, as we have seen in school curriculums also, like in CBSE, they have put, a weightage on how much marks question will come from one chapter. So, while designing the curriculum, should we also put this kind of thing in our units or on COs?
I'll tell you, in case of a CBSE, because it's a national examination, that's why they have to go for this sort of minute details. Whereas in our higher education system, maybe in case you're a university, you can leave it to the instructor also, okay, how exactly he can decide about this. Yes, but for the students, in case you would like to give it the more emphasis to the student, you can define, okay, this particular component will have 10 marks question, this component, because let's say, how do you make the syllabi? There will be 6 or 7 subunits there. Corresponding
Yes, sir.
each of the subunit, you define, okay, these are the number of a question which will be there from this particular unit there. 10 marks question, 20 marks question, and 15 marks question. Like that you can define.
Okay, so we can leave it to the instructor or
Yeah, leave
or
it
the
to
course
the
teacher.
yes.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Or while design the curricula, in case you define 4 COs,
Yes,
you
sir.
say this CO2 is more important as compared to CO1. You can say while setting the question paper, you have to say 10% question from this CO, 20% question from this particular CO. That's how you can define.
Sir,
Okay,
I,
sir. Okay.
sir, I want to know one
Yes,
question.
you're from your Munawwar Hussain, okay?
I am from University Mullana,
Okay, you're
Ambala,
from
sir.
Mulana. That's great.
Sir, my question is that now because already our national education policy has been implemented 2020, and
Hmm.
before this there are also a lot of the education policy came in the education sector, but still we are facing the problem. The different types of the university are following the different types of the curriculum, and they are designing according on the needs. So how in this way how we can provide the
Hello.
similar education and integration in the education sector in all the country.
Okay, 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 okay. So basically, if you look at our university system, there's a lot of heterogeneity there. There may be a good university, there may be average university, because this is how your accreditation does this thing to this. So all these are nothing but the way your university system is there. Because India is a diversified country, I can't think of uniformity in that. That's why this sort of things will be there. But slowly they are emerging, because if you look at 15 years back, we never thought of program outcome will be at the national level. No, we never thought of there will be model curricula there as far as various engineering programs are there. Now, our regulatory bodies are coming out with that particular aspect there. Any other question? Yeah, Sandeep says, what about the Bloom's level? Shouldn't all levels be there in the question paper? No. As I say, first four, last four, maybe remembering, applying, understanding, and some to some extent analysis can be a fixed time question. and rest of the things have an open-ended question there. That's why we don't put all the level of question there in the question.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.